Hello, welcome to Live Stream Monday. If you are catching this on replay, whatever, if you could type replay in the comments, even if you don't comment anything else, that's totally fine. It really helps me to figure out like the reach of this video and to make sure that people are actually watching them. So if you could just type replay, that'd be great if you are watching the replay. But it is Monday, November 12th, and we are live at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Hi, Liz. Hi. To talk about imposter syndrome today. Now, usually I talk about something that is specifically witchy in some way, especially in regards to like creating your practical path and integrating magic into your life. But I really want to talk about imposter syndrome today because it's something that a lot of us struggle with. If not right now, it doesn't happen all the time, but I'm betting that you might have felt this in your life at some point. And I want to talk about what it is. I want to talk about some ways to help deal with it so that we can get ourselves out of being stuck in this imposter syndrome. And I'm also going to talk about some like witchy tools that we can use to help us. Sorry, it's getting hot in here. To help us with our to help us get out of imposter syndrome and stay out of imposter syndrome. So I'm going to move my microphone because I just realized that I pushed it all the way behind my monitor. So that's not great. All right. Sorry about that. Hope you can hear me. So let's start by talking about what imposter syndrome is. So imposter syndrome is feeling like a fraud, feeling like a fake, feeling afraid of being found out. I dealt with this a lot in my most recent switch to my current day job. And I was like, oh no, I feel like they're going to find out that I'm not what they really want. And, you know, like, oh, they're going to like, let me go or whatever. Yeah, I was exactly, I did not represent myself weirdly. I didn't lie on my resume or my interview, but I still had this fear of like being found out. And I think thankfully that's gone away from me now, but there are times where I feel like an imposter or a fake still. So let's talk about what causes this imposter syndrome, this feeling like a fake, feeling like you might be, it's not even like you feel, it's like you will be perceived as being a fake or a fraud. So a couple things that can cause this: unreal expectations. And when I'm talking about unreal expectations, I'm talking about the expectations that you're putting on yourself. Comparisоnism. Are you comparing yourself to other people? Or are you comparing yourself to this like phantom person that exists, like just some weird ideal phantom person? Like, oh, I should be like this if I, starting a job, or even as a witch, like, oh, I should be like this, and because I'm not doing XYZ or feeling XYZ or look XYZ, like I'm not smart enough, witchy enough, I'm not a good fit, etc. So those are a couple of things. Like lack of confidence is another thing that can really cause imposter syndrome. So let's talk about how to get out of imposter syndrome. Like there are a couple ways, there are several things that you can do to kind of jar yourself out of that and kind of remind yourself what a powerful flippin' being you are. I'm trying to curb the cussing, can you tell? We'll see how well that works. Okay. How do you get out of being stuck in that imposter syndrome? So one thing that I do, and I mentioned it before, but in my Outlook email, sorry, my hair's like a freaking straw mess today. It's really dry. Sorry. It's bugging me. So one thing I do is I keep a folder in my Outlook. This is for my day job, where I keep all of these like thank you emails. Every email where someone says, "You're amazing. You saved my ass. This is way better than I expected." Like any super congratulatory or super complimentary email goes in that folder. I actually call it Yay Me. And I actually did this in my old job, and I've been doing it for over 10 years because even in my old job, like if I wasn't feeling like an imposter, I might be feeling down. I might be feeling like, why am I even here? Why am I doing this? And keeping kind of a record of how what I'm doing is affecting other people in a positive way can really help get you out of a rut, as well as help kind of take you out of that imposter syndrome feeling. Another thing that you can do to get out of imposter syndrome is create a resume of your accomplishments. So if you're feeling kind of like a fake or a fraud at your job, update your resume. I mean, that is something that really kind of helps me really realize, especially again, if I'm in a rut or I'm feeling like I'm not helping anybody, because it's really important to me that I'm helping people in my life. So if I feel like I'm basically on a hamster wheel doing nothing, create like a resume, update your resume, or create a resume of accomplishments, everything that you've accomplished. And that will help you remember like how you are actually affecting the outside world. And that can kind of come back as confidence and really help you realize that what you're doing in this world actually really does matter. It doesn't matter if you are like out walking and I don't know, planting seeds in the Amazonian rainforest, or you're here and you're just helping people get their lives together, or helping people with their data entry. Like, you are helping people. Like, most of our job is helping people in one way or another. And I think that goes for almost any job. Helping people get better insurance, helping people grow their business, helping people help if you're in like sales support, helping your salespeople. It's all about like helping other people. And when you realize how you help other people, it can help you like get out of that imposter syndrome. Associated with that is come back to why you do what you do. What is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? And sometimes that might be because I need to pay my bills, and that might be enough. But sometimes it's because I want to help the world, because I want to raise my family the way I want to raise them. Maybe I work from home because I want to be with my children or my dog, if you don't have kids. Come back to why you're doing what you're doing. Another way is to do a free write about why you are awesome. And I know this might sound kind of silly especially if you're like, why would I do that? And how would I even come up with the ways that I'm awesome? But that's kind of the beauty of a free write, is you just take your piece of paper. If you're not a journaler, if you're like, oh God, I hate journaling, because there are people out there who don't like journaling, do like a mind map. I don't know if you remember like from like junior high or elementary school where you would like do clusters. They didn't call it mind maps back then. When I was young, called it clusters. And you would write like why I'm awesome. And then you can, write little bubbles about why you're awesome and break them off instead of journaling. I really suggest this because I know a lot of people push journaling, like just journal, just get it all out. But some people don't freaking like writing. That's not me, but people don't like that. So if you're one of those people who really don't want to journal, you can mind map, and in that's a way of journaling. So get your markers out. I know I feel like I say this a lot. Get your blank piece of paper out, get your markers out, make it fun, and do a free write about why you're awesome, because you are awesome in a million ways. So sometimes it takes 10, 15 minutes of us, just 10 or 15, think about like just taking 10 or 15 minutes out of your day. That's it. And concentrate on this. Write why you're awesome, because you are awesome. And sometimes it's easy for us to forget it because we are so busy doing everything else. We're supporting other people. We are helping our family. We are doing our outside jobs. We're doing our other jobs. Some of us have more than one job. We have a million things going on. So it's really difficult, to come back, take a breath, and de-stress, like relax a little bit, and come back and write why you're awesome. Hi, Amanda. So that's another way to kind of get out of that imposter syndrome. Again, I feel also that's kind of a little bit of self-care as well, because, you know, I feel like we don't take enough time like to focus on us. And when you're writing down what you're awesome at, like that is what you are doing in that moment mindfully, is you are focusing on yourself in a very positive manner. Another way is to talk about it with other people. Like you're not the only one that feels this way. You're not the only one who's ever felt like an imposter, whether it's in your job, like as a witch, or doing whatever. I'll tell you my story after I take a sip of wine. Yay, Monday. So when I started my coven, and I'll talk a little bit about this probably in a second, but I was a solitary. I had taken tons of leadership training. I've been in leadership training since I was probably in 5th grade when I started tutoring. And I started like my first entrepreneurial event when I started teaching other children how to read for money as a kid. And so like I have been doing leadership training since then, but starting my coven was a completely different wheelhouse, because I was a solitary for a really long time. I started an online coven. That is a really kind of a fun story, but I started an online coven that ran and and was organized just like a real coven. I can give you guys more information on that because that's a pretty fun story as well. Then I stopped that coven because I joined a in real life coven, which is what we called them in the early 2000s. And people were pretty nice in that coven, but the high priestess was she had bipolar disorder, and she was struggling with her medication and changes, and that's always super hard. And so she stopped being able to show up and things, and then she ended up just having to like quit. And I got voted in as high priestess because I was already the maiden in that coven because I had the most experience. And that ended up dissolving, but I didn't really have a whole lot of that group experience. In that, I probably had maybe 6 months of like group ritual experience, and it was very tepid. It wasn't like high energy raising. It was just very tepid. So that coven ended up dissolving due to like nobody talked about expectations. So everybody wanted different things. Everybody was trying to commute. You can't have people commuting from North Orange County and people commuting from Santa Monica and expect somebody to get there wherever it is on time in LA. That is like the worst. That is unacceptable. It's just you can get to a place in 30 minutes or 2.5 hours, because that's how it is in LA. So that went away, and I decided, because I could not find another coven around me, to start my own coven. And starting my own coven as a 25-year-old was an experience, and one in which I felt like a super imposter, especially because at that time it was all about who you know, like who initiated you, what is your lineage. Like now it doesn't matter as much. Now like not everybody is Wiccan. Like more people are pagan than are Wiccan, and back then it was a little bit different. So I really felt like an imposter. And so what really helped me was talking. I found like one other person that was a high priestess, because I was really looking for somebody to talk to about it, and just talking about it, just saying it out loud, really helped me. And what she had told me was that she also felt like that when she first stepped into that high priestess role. She also felt like that, and that helped me immensely. Just that validation that I am not alone. So talk about it with other people. You know, you're not the only one that's ever felt this way, you know. So talk about it. Talk about it with your peers or your boss or anybody. Talk about it with me. Direct message me. I will talk to you about it. Because you're not really an imposter. It's just like your brain playing a trick on you. Another way to kind of break out of that imposter syndrome is to ask yourself some questions, like do some introspection, do some contemplation. I know I push like contemplation, meditation, observation, visualization all the time, but really do some contemplation and ask yourself these questions. And you can journal them if you want to, you can mind map them if you want to, or you can just take some time to really get deep into yourself. Listen to some binaural beats and get deep and ask yourself some questions. Why do I feel this way? What has happened to make me feel this way? Has anything happened to make me feel like an imposter? Did anything happen to make me feel unworthy? Like a lot of us, we have these feelings of being unworthy when we are enough. Like you right now, just existing, you are enough just as you are. And even just to sit with that sometimes is hard because we put so much judgment on ourselves. So has something happened to make you feel that way? And then once you have thought about that, like what does success look like to you? Because a lot of feeling like an imposter is that comparisоnism that I mentioned earlier. Like what does success look like? Are you being unreasonable? Like, are you expecting yourself, if you step into a new job role and that person who was there before you had a master's degree in business or whatever, and here you are with your 3 years of college and a hopeful heart and experience and some skills, but are you comparing yourself to other people? Like, is that reasonable? And also, when you think about who you might be comparing yourself to and whether it's reasonable or not, just really don't sell yourself short. Just because, like if we're talking about jobs, just because somebody might have a degree, like, oh, hey, they have a 4-year degree, that doesn't mean they have any sort of skills. Like hopefully they would if they have a 4-year degree. But I have met people with a 4-year degree who have terrible writing skills where I'm just like, wait, you graduated college? Like, how is that possible? Or like they don't know how to use like Microsoft Office or whatever. And if you don't know how to use it, that's totally fine too. I suggest that you learn how to use it because it's great. But make sure that you are not setting yourself up to fail. Make sure you're not being unreasonable on what success looks like to you. Okay? Again, and make sure that you are not, this is something that's important that I was just reminded about right now, but when you're thinking about yourself, how you live your life, what you're accomplishing, here's a question. This isn't on my outline to talk about, but I have a sticky note here about something that I wanted to post about the other day and didn't. So here we go. Who are you? What do you need to gain approval? I feel like this ties in a lot with this imposter syndrome. Who do you need to get approval from to feel legit? I feel like, especially as women, we are supposed to be nice and we're supposed to be sweet and we're supposed to, put others before us. And we have all of this societal bullshit that is like thrust upon us. And we're supposed to like, please our parents and please our partners and please all of these fucking people. Evidently my ability to not cuss has gone out the window. So my question to you is, who do you need approval from? And what do you do to get approval? Like, are you waiting for somebody to approve of you? Like, are you waiting for that email from your boss to say you're doing an awesome job, even if you know that you're doing an awesome job? That's just a reminder, something to think about. Are you being unreasonable? Are you waiting for someone to approve of you? And when you are waiting for somebody to approve of you, you're waiting for their approval, like you are working to get somebody's approval, you are giving away your power. You are giving them power to like access your feelings. You're like, please send me an email that says you're doing a good job, or like, please, I want to please you. Like,
when you are working towards somebody else's approval and not yourself, not to satisfy your own self, you're giving away that power. And I say that with so much love because that is something I personally struggle with. I personally, like, my coworkers joke around and call me the overachiever. I'm not even kidding. Overachiever, because I do more to try to get more from other people, like to get like the accolades, and that's something I'm trying to not do. But because again, that gives away your power. I don't want anybody to have power over me. I want to feel successful and happy in my own self. I don't want other people to control that for me. So if you need approval from somebody, if you need permission to feel good about yourself, if you need permission to feel like you have the right to stand in the place that you are standing, I give you that permission. Take that permission. Give yourself that permission, because you don't want to be giving away your power like that. Okay. So that is another thing. Also, visualize success. What does success look like to you? Like, if you didn't feel like an imposter, right, or a fraud or a fake or whatever, what would that look like to you? Maybe you're already doing it, and this feeling like a fraud is just kind of like a skin you need to shed because you're doing it right now. But if you feel like there is a specific place you want to go, if you can like quantify where you could be to feel like not like a fraud, visualize that. Visualize yourself in that place. Visualize yourself doing those things. Visualize that success, and you'll be more likely to get to that place. But really, it's likely that you are doing a great job right now, because really, honestly, all you can do is the best that you can do. That is all the universe is asking for. That is all literally you can do. Anything else, it's not your fucking problem, because you're doing the best that you can. So, visualize that success, do the very best you can, and that's it. That's all you can do, really. So there's no reason for feeling bad. There's no reason, because I feel like sometimes we guilt ourselves, like I'm not good enough, and that's why I feel like a failure, and I feel like I shouldn't be here, and this and that. But you're doing the very best you can, and that is all that you can do. Another idea is to change the way you respond to failure and mistake making. So if you make mistakes, because let's be real, we all fucking make mistakes. All of us, we all make mistakes. I make mistakes all of the time, but I try to not think of it like, oh my God, I'm so terrible. How could I have been so stupid? Although sometimes that's like my first thing, like, I'm so dumb. But instead of like responding to that, like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. That's so dumb. Oh my God. And then spiraling out of control. Everybody thinks I'm stupid. Why am I even here? Like, that can spiral out of control really quickly. So instead of thinking like, oh, I'm screwed up, this and that, think like, oh, cool. Like, I learned a lesson. I'm not going to do X, Y, Z again. And if you mess up and your peers are like, you messed up, you can be like, I realize that. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. This is not going to happen going forward, and this is why. The end. People, turns out, pro tip, I guess, if you screw something up, people care more about fixing it and going forward, it not happening again, than who actually screwed up, usually. So if you do mess up, just acknowledge the mistake. Say, hey, cool, thanks for bringing blah, blah, blah. I've learned, I appreciate this, I appreciate this opportunity to learn this lesson. And then it won't happen again. So instead of thinking, I'm so terrible, blah, 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 and getting into that like rut of ridiculous, like pile-onedness where you're just like, I just want to pull a blanket over my head. No, you learned a lesson. And just remind yourself, like, hey, I would not have learned this lesson if I had not made this mistake, or if I had not failed in this way. Because every failure is a stepping stone. Every mistake is a stepping stone to doing your job better, to living your life better, to making better choices. So you can choose, and this is like, you can choose your thoughts. I know, crazy, right? But you can choose to think of it like, a positive thing, like this is a stepping stone to living a better life, doing a better job, etc. Or you can choose to think of it as like, I messed up, I'm terrible, why am I even here, blah, blah, blah. So you get to choose the way that you think about those things. You get to choose your mindset. So it's up to you how you choose to think about it. Do you want to think about it like everything's terrible, or do you want to think about like, this is a great lesson that I got to learn that I would not have learned if I hadn't made this mistake and felt this way? Another thing is separating feelings from facts. That is a huge thing. So if we make a mistake, let's say we messed up at work and we typed the wrong thing and now something is wrong and now we have to fix it. You can think, okay, well, I screwed this up. Now I have to fix this. Or now I have these 3 people who have to be involved in fixing my mistake. The end. You can think like, okay, I messed up. It's getting fixed, etc. Like those are the facts. This got messed up. People are helping me. We're fixing it. It will be fine. Or you can focus on your feelings of like, I screwed up. Oh my God. Now all these people think I'm stupid. And like, you can really easily get in your head. If you're like me, you could really easily get in your head and like turn these like 4 facts into like the worst thing that's ever happened ever. Like you can do that. Or you can choose to focus on the facts. Hey, I messed up. This got screwed up. It's getting fixed. I'm moving on with my day. Like you can separate your feelings from the actual facts instead of allowing yourself to go on that downward spiral journey of doom that is not going to be helpful. So when I'm saying all of these things, I want you to think about what is going to be helpful to you, like from a witnessy standpoint. So not in your own self, but like from a witnessing standpoint, like, okay, what is going to be helpful to me and what is not going to be helpful to me? Turns out going in a downward spiral of doom thoughts is not helpful. So think about, these are the things that happened. You know, people aren't going to think you don't belong here. That's not really a thing that most people ever think about. So just separate your feelings from your facts so that you realize that you do belong here. Everybody makes mistakes. It's not everybody's looking at you, etc. Like we kind of bring these things up and get a little crazy. So, okay. Any questions so far? So you can feel free to type in the comments if you want to. Also, I know I mentioned a couple things to ask yourself before, but really ask yourself when we're talking about feelings versus facts, what am I feeling right now? You know, and just honor the feelings that you're feeling and let them go so that you can focus on the facts. And also, what would my best friend say about this? So if you are feeling like an imposter, like let's say you start a new job, or if you're a witch, you're like, I'm doing these things, but I still don't feel like I'm witchy enough, etc. So, you know, feel your feelings, but then if they are not helpful, if they're not logical, if they do not actually align with reality, you know, release those feelings so that you can step into your own power and step into like what is actually happening. And ask yourself, what would my best friend say about this? A lot of times we're super hard on ourselves, like super hard. You know, we're like, oh, I should be XYZ and I should be doing this and I should have 2.5 children in a mansion by the time I'm 36 and 6 horses in a boat. Like we all, and social media is not freaking helpful for reals, right? So ask yourself what your best friend would say about this, like, or ask your best friend, as long as they're a real friend, what would my best friend say about this? You know, try to come at it from a different standpoint that does not involve you kind of mirroring your own feelings back and forth, because we can just get in this like cycle of like really shitty feelings. But usually our best friends or our family, you know, if you have a good family relationship, they will tell you like it is. You know, they'll tell you how it actually is, and that's what you need. Like, you are awesome. You've stepped into your power. You're doing, you know, what you need to do. You're making choices that you need to make. It's amazing. And then finally, fake it till you make it. Okay, so this is something that I've heard in several lives, that's not really a thing, but it really is a thing. And it is a thing for a reason. So when you're faking it, you're not really like faking it. You're not pretending you know a programming language you don't know. Like, you're stepping into your power and you're owning it. It just feels like you're faking it. That's it. You are stepping into your power. You're doing what needs to be done. It just feels like you're faking it. You're not fucking faking it. And at some point, it's a gradual thing. So there might not be a day you're like, oh, I've made it. But when you are feeling like you're faking it, at some point you'll realize that you no longer feel like that. And you've really just embraced what is going on, embraced what is happening. Okay, so that is like the final strategy I'm going to leave you with, is that fake it till you make it, because you're not really faking it. You're really doing a great job. It just feels like you're faking it. And that's just our brains faking us out, because sometimes it can be a jerk, our brains. All right, so I also want to talk about some confidence catalysts, because a lot of times the imposter syndrome comes from not feeling confident where we are, not feeling confident in our skin, etc. So I just want to go over some catalysts that you can integrate into your magical practices, into your life. Colors, mostly like yellow and orange and blue, because a lot of our confidence comes from our I forgot what it's called, like our womb chakra. I forgot what it's called today because I'm having brain fart. Our womb chakra and our solar plexus chakra and our throat chakra. So a lot of it is yellow and orange and blue. So that might mean those might be your power colors. You can wear them. You can wear jewelry that matches them. You could wear something in your hair. You can wear a necklace that has that color. Crystals, orange, again. This is like the easiest thing about witchcraft, is a lot of the things, if you know your energy centers and the colors and what they kind of represent, then a lot of times crystals will be really easy to choose because most of them correlate with the color. So orange calcite, carnelian, tiger's eye, citrine, agate, fire agate, especially blue lace agate, labradorite, moonstone, anything with a flash, because you are showing off your confidence. Larimar. Those are just a couple of the crystals that can help you instill confidence in yourself. So that might mean you wear a necklace. That might mean you carry it with you. That might mean you stick it in your bra. A lot of women have crystals in their bras. But you want to remember to take it out so it doesn't end up in the wash. So those are some crystals that you can use. That might mean you put it in your purse. There are tons of different ways that you can integrate crystals, bracelets, etc. Symbols like the sun or the butterfly, anything that is like bright, and anything that you feel that resonates with you. There are times when I'm going through things that are more difficult than my regular time. There will usually be some symbol that comes to me, and it might be like a traditional symbol, or it might be some random symbol like a bell, or I don't know, whatever, a specific color. And I usually find that through meditation or dreams or contemplation meditation. So whatever symbols correlate with how you're feeling and whatever you feel will help you, those are the symbols that you will want to integrate. So that's pretty much it. That's all I really have to say about imposter syndrome. I know it's not super witchy, although some of it might like resonate with you, especially if you've just stepped onto this path and you're kind of afraid of identifying as a witch. Let me put that to rest. You are a witch. You are here. You are practicing witchcraft. That makes you a witch. It's not a competition. There isn't like a you're more witchy than me. Like, we're all on the same playing field, right? So that's pretty much it for tonight. I know this is more coachy, which is like, my background, than witchy. But that's pretty much it. I wanted to let you know, I don't know if you noticed, but I did post a few more events that are coming up. We've got Introduction to Shadow Work, Deepening into the Dark Part of the Year. We're going to talk about altars and crystals and kitchen witchery for winter and winter solstice. Those are a couple things that are coming up. So make sure you check out the events tab, probably that way. And RSVP, because if you RSVP, I believe it will like notify you when it's about time. So if there's something that you're really interested in, make sure you RSVP for it so you do get a notification. And as always, I'm available via direct message. You can tag me in a post, etc. So I just want you to know that like you are not alone. If you have ever felt like an imposter, if you've ever felt, you know, like a fake or a fraud or not good enough, etc., like you are not alone. I feel like most people have felt this way. So anyway, so I hope this helps you, and I will see you guys later. Bye.